Welcome to Soul Rising. We're your hosts, Amy and Erin. We're two everyday mediums who are passionate about taking the woo-woo out of spirituality and bringing it down to earth. So put the kettle on, grab a chair, and join us.
Hey everyone!
Welcome back.
Welcome back to episode 28 of Soul Rising.
That's my birthday.
28th, yeah, that's
28th.
Yeah,
that's a good number.
Yeah. We have a special guest on today. This is Brandee, and she's become a good friend over the last couple years. We met on Instagram, I feel.
Yeah.
Just like I met Erin through Instagram.
I was just going to say, you meet all the best people, I feel like, through Instagram. I've made so many friends, just like I'm sure you guys have as well.
Yeah.
Well, obviously.
Yeah. So, and to work throughout the episode, we'll give some, like where can people find you and all those things. But so your podcast is called Spirit Talk.
Yes.
That's my handle as well. So if you want to go look for that right now, you guys can.
Yeah, go give her a follow. Check her out.
Yeah. So how long have you been doing Spirit Talk, your podcast?
Spirit Talk started in January 21.
Okay.
So yeah, a little over a year.
For a while. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Time flies.
Time does fly. Yeah. Erin and I have been doing this since November of 21. So yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. So what was podcasting something that you always kind of wanted to do? Like what led you to do that? Was that like a leap for you?
100%. I'll tell you what, guys, I wanted to podcast for so long before I actually did. This is my message to everybody listening. Do the thing. Do the thing. Because when I started, I had so much energy and momentum behind my ideas that it was too much.
Yeah.
It was almost like overwhelming. So I probably should have started 6 months before, but I've always been a podcast listener. Like even since I was a kid before podcasts, I would sit in the kitchen listening to CBC radio talk shows and
like to listen audio.
Yeah, love it.
Yeah. I was always the kid who was like reading the back of the cereal boxes or the shampoo bottles. So I'm like more of a visual gal, but I do love podcasts. I'm becoming more, I think probably like once the pandemic started is when I really got more into listening to
podcasts. Yeah. They're also just great to listen on commutes. That's what I put on a podcast. I listen to it on my commute and it's amazing. Yeah. Brandee, just for those that might not necessarily know, what is Spirit Talk about? I mean, obviously spirit is involved in some form, but
yeah, it's, about all things spirituality. I like to uncover it all. You guys are so prolific. Good for you. I go and just do it as it comes up. So I'm sure some people are like, what the heck, 2-3 weeks between. So I got to get better at that. But, everything from mediumship to getting signs and synchronicities, I like to try to incorporate a little bit of science and spirit too. And more of that will be coming up. Even though they're not totally copacetic in sync yet, it's neat to see.
I think they are. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, they are. But the scientists and the actual research, it's not what it could be yet, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Absolutely.
That's super exciting.
Yeah. I think, although like for Soul Rising, we do put out weekly episodes, we really but we never have a set plan really. So we just kind of go with the flow. Like what's the energy today?
Yeah.
Like what's been coming up all week. Right. And
what are we feeling like today? How are we feeling? Let's do a check-in. What do we feel like talking about? Okay. We're going to talk about that.
I love it. I love that spontaneity you guys have. And it's so flowy. It's so divine feminine. It's beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
I appreciate that because that's, because I sat on podcasts for a long time too. And then I sat on it even longer because I was like, I don't know if I want to do it by myself. We took the same podcast course, I think, didn't we? Did you?
Yes, I know. I remember talking to you about you wanting to start, and I don't know how it came about with you guys meeting up and joining forces, but it worked out so well for you.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it just one day dawned on me. I'm like, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this with Erin. And then I asked her, and then after the fact, she was like an immediate yes. And then after the fact, she goes, I was kind of like, I put it out to the universe that I wanted you to ask me.
I was kind of hoping, I was like, but I didn't want to be that person that was like, so can I be like your partner on your podcast? On your podcast. And then, yeah, it happened. And I was really happy.
Yeah. So I think I was like, obviously like picking up on some sort of.
You were hearing my brain, my psychicness.
Yeah.
No, actually, that's actually what happened. Telepathic stuff is real, guys.
Yes, 100%. Yes.
That's funny because I kind of wished for a partner as well. I was hemming and hawing about everything to do with podcasting. I just didn't know. There was so much going on. I just didn't know. I just had to start, it turns out.
Yeah.
You just have to start. But so I was kind of putting it out there. Do I want somebody? And like a couple things seemed to maybe like it would pan out and then just didn't. I'm like, you know what? That's the sign. I'm doing this on my own.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's important, like what you're saying. Sometimes you just have to do it. Because I think like if the universe just keeps dropping in that idea, that desire over and over and over again, it is a sign for you to take action. And I find the things that we are like most like, oh, I don't know,
hesitant about,
challenged by, or like whatever it is the very thing that we're meant to do.
I think so.
It'll be the most fulfilling once you actually.
Yes.
I'm just doing that in my 40s. Things I wish I knew when I was 16, but thankfully I have teenagers and a little one, but I'm now like instilling that in the teens.
You get to pass on the knowledge.
Yeah. If I wasn't held back by things, for sure. I wanted to ask you a little bit about your kind of like have you always been spiritual? Like how did this whole, I don't know if there was a spiritual awakening, like some people actually have some sort of event that triggers it, or was it just always there? Like
kind of both, kind of yes and no. I like to say, I say awakening like anybody else, but I also love the term reawakening because really it just is remembering your soul. Yeah. So, I always have been spiritual. I guess I was kind of born that way. I did have religion as a kid, and I would always challenge the nuns and priests and teachers, like, but what about this? What about that? Always seeking. And, I sometimes given answers, a lot of times not really in-depth answers that I was looking for. So I'm always about philosophy and digging deep into my brain. I have 3 planets in Sagittarius, so that makes a lot of sense. And I was kind of connected to my guide when I was a kid quite a bit. I went through kind of dulling that down and really just living life as a teen and early adult. Just, being in the 3D and putting that aside. But when I was about 23, I read A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle in the woods, in the forest, and stunning setting, just in the middle of nowhere. And I read that book, and it really did help to awaken me to, whoa, there's so much more to life. We can choose our thoughts, and we can, we really are a soul living in a human body. So that kind of catapulted me out of a canon. And then again, after I had kids and there was a death in the family. So it's kind of gone in stages of, new level, new level.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that too. The fact that you said new level, new level, new level, because I do definitely feel like we're all leveling up.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, because I think like you can't really like force this, like I think that we're given as much as we can handle in the moment, right? So somebody was recently asking on this Facebook group or something, like, how long do you believe that mediums have to be born, or can you develop this? And so my belief is that you can develop it. I feel as if, as we grow and evolve, and then we become ready for more. So we need certain like life experiences to happen. And then it opens up more and more and more. So I said, I don't ever think that we ever get to like this, whatever this is. It's constantly like we get there and then it just goes like this. Right.
Yeah. Exactly. When you say you can't force it, boy, are you right? Because I have tried. I have tried it with spiritual abilities development. Like, oh, I want to be like psychic AF, and it turns out I am, but but like really grabbing it from the ethers and trying to pull it in, which is actually not how it works, as it turns out. So when you do try to force it like that, it's like, okay, you're gonna be stalled now. You got to figure out your own inner crap. Yep.
Yeah, because this work is actually anything but force and control. It's about resisting, because every time I feel resistance, I'm like, okay, I need to surrender. And then it's like, okay, you learn the lesson, and then it comes in. It's so hard for us because we don't want to surrender. I think for me, I feel like that is one of the main things that we're all learning here together.
Yeah. To surrender.
It's like, how can you like create your life, right? Like, know that you're powerful and that you can, your thought creates, right? So having that piece, but then also the balance of the things happen in their own time. It's such a fine balance between those two things. And sometimes I think, well, that's the masculine and feminine, right?
Yeah.
And we've just been all this create, hustle. Yeah.
Well, and it's hard not to feel that way, especially with the society that we're in, right? It's such
Nobody's
fast paced.
that we're that way. That's what society has really promoted. Speaking of that kind of, what do you feel about parallel universes? Do you think that's a thing?
Well,
I know what we think.
Universes. Yeah. I think that could be a thing. I also, what I think about when you said parallel universes, I thought of what I do think happens is souls can split and go into multiple lives at once.
Yeah, that's what we kind of feel.
Okay.
The reason I asked it is because somebody asked me recently about that. Like, so if there's parallel universes, then say like, because this person's mom is in spirit. So when you connect to her, could she also be living in another parallel?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And I said to me, I feel like, yes.
I've even felt it in readings, like the soul that I was contacting or, communicating with made me aware that they're actually in a body.
Wow.
So they can communicate with mediums and be living. Like, I feel like the soul's always kind of a little bit, I don't know, bifurcated, a little bit divided out. Yeah. And there's the oversoul or the higher soul, right?
Wow.
Yeah. That's cool that we're sort of all on the same page with that too.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
That's kind of fun confirmation. Yeah.
Ooh, I get goosebumps.
Because Amy and I had talked about like parallel universes and like this whole idea of like past lives. But what if you're living your past life right now?
Like, it's not a time thing.
It's not like because time is not linear. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Or both at the same time. Like living
everything everywhere all at once. There's a movie about parallel universes.
Yeah. Have you guys ever seen on YouTube, there's this video called The Egg Theory?
Yes.
I don't think so.
I think you sent it to me. That's another thing that's
kind of a parallel universe-y kind of thing. It's just a little like quick little almost cartoony video. I think it's probably 7 minutes long, about somebody passing away and then like meeting creator, which is just kind of like, I don't even think you see it. It's like a big blob of just energy. Kind of explaining, yes, you passed away, your physical body passed. This is where you are now. And, the kind of the purpose that you are everybody. You are everybody all at once, right? And that like, now you're going to go and you're going to be back in like 13 AD or something. And the person's like, what? How can I do that? That was that long ago. And he's like, there's no time. Like, it's still now. It's happening now somewhere else. So it kind of blew my mind. I watched that probably 5 years ago before I really like dived deep into spirituality. And I was like, whoa, like it did a number.
Send it over.
I will, for sure. We'll put it in the show notes as well, so you guys can check it out. The Egg Theory.
The Egg Theory.
Yeah.
That makes me think of another, sorry, Amy, that makes me think of another thing, in that you don't have to experience the life itself either. You could like basically absorb another soul's lessons, whatever they learned in a life, you can like just take it in. I don't think it happens all that often, but it's like you lived it. You get all the lessons from not even living it. Who knows? I don't know if that has a name, that theory, but I've heard about that.
Whoa.
I've never heard of that.
I've never heard of that either.
I think Dolores Cannon talked about that.
Oh, did she?
Oh, she would. Yeah. Sounds like a
I like Dolores Cannon a lot.
I do too.
Yeah, I was reading the 3 new waves, what is it called? The 3 waves.
3 waves. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I wanted to ask for you. So we talked about you kind of feel like you've always been spiritual to some degree. Does anybody else in your family feel the same way?
Oh yeah.
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 Sometimes you find like things like this almost like a sense of intuitiveness, like maybe extra sensitive to, seems to run in families at times. And I just wondered.
I do think that. And, I've been really diving into, we're name dropping all kinds of times here, but I've been diving into Ainsley MacLeod's work a little bit. He talks about, do we have another synchronicity?
Yes, because I bought the instruction and it's literally out for delivery right now.
That's perfect. And he talks about types. So spiritualist type. Yes. And so I do think I'm one of those, and definitely it does kind of run in my family, I guess, but there's also religion. So that's kind of taboo, right? But I do hear about my relatives, like grandmothers and great aunts and stuff, having abilities or whatever they would call it, psychicness. And definitely a lot of the women in my family are really intuitive. Yeah. I don't know that they would really talk about it like that in those words. Yeah. I'm the weird one for sure.
You're kind of out and about with it.
But I can see it in them 100%.
Yeah. That's an interesting point, because I've had people, years ago kind of feel or see my sensitivities. Right. Like I remember once somebody literally saying to me, I was a seer. This was probably in, 12 years ago. And I was like, what?
I was told the same thing.
Were you? Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think it was actually somebody who was a Reiki master. And I was at this like a get together, a bunch of women where we had a potluck, and there was the host was learning Reiki. So her Reiki master came over. He was set up in another room and he was doing card and or palm readings. And he told me that. He told me a bunch of stuff. Full circle. He now follows me. I'm like, hey.
You're kidding. That's so funny.
It's super funny.
I love that.
Because he didn't even know that I was the same person until I found out. He's like, oh, interesting.
Yeah. See, somebody told me that. And then I thought in high school, oh, yeah, you're right. And I did it. But I was right about a lot of things.
Yeah.
Like I was giving readings to friends and stuff.
Okay.
And then it scared me. And I was like, oh no. Yeah.
That might be a common thing. Like it's just kind of almost turning it off a little bit, like through adulthood.
I think so. Yeah. I mean, especially like I was young, and not even young, but like it doesn't matter what age. Like if you're, if you start giving readings and you're not even like thinking anything of it and you're accurate with a lot of the information, and you're not sure what this is, it can be scary. It can be, it's something that you're not familiar with, right?
Yeah.
And so I think it's totally normal for us to just want to turn that part off sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not easy. It actually isn't easy. People want to be, well, like a psychic medium and have all these, what I love to call powers.
Yeah.
But it's actually sometimes a lot.
Yeah.
So I find that I go in stages of, okay, I'm really on right now. I'm doing a lot of mediumship. I'm doing a lot of this or that, a lot of Reiki, a lot of whatever. And then I'll have to take like breaks,
Yeah.
just to rest and recoup. That is why I like to have a lot of different interests, because I'm like, oh, I'm going to lean into this now instead. I'm going to do more cards, or maybe I'll learn palmistry or whatever, just study something else for a bit, because it's just overwhelming being so sensitive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Do you guys find sometimes even when you're out and about, you're getting information?
I used to a lot. I really learned how to boundary up.
Me too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What do you guys use to like put your boundaries up?
Amy?
For me, it's just intention. I just have kind of set the intention that, I don't, when I go out in a public space, maybe to like, say it's like a stadium or a grocery store or a mall, I just want to kind of be in my own bubble, taking in my own information. It's funny you asked this because I recently talked about this. And I said, sometimes I'll pick up on information about another person.
Yeah.
Because the question was, can psychics read minds? Okay. And for me, I said, no, like not really. And I don't want to, like, I wouldn't want to know that. But sometimes I'll say I applied for a job and I started to pick up on the sense like this would not be the right boss for me. Maybe I'll pick up like why it wouldn't. Maybe there's aspects of that person's personality or their belief system or whatever it is that would kind of give me a heads up like, no. And I think that we all have that ability, like whether you call it your spidey sense or your intuition or what. And so for me, if I'm picking up on somebody else, it's always because it's somehow impacting me. And it's almost like my guides are like, just protecting you from this. But I'm just not going to like, if we were hanging out, I would not be like tapping into your energy. Like, no way. In fact, I don't ever do readings without permission.
Yeah. I mean, it's sort of like
if you're going to call it a reading, but like, I wouldn't even intentionally tap into anybody's energy.
It can be really personal, like some of that stuff too. Right. And even when I find I think we've talked about this, and maybe Brandee, you find it's very similar for you. But even when I find people are asking about other people, and even if I like wanted to, I can't get anything, maybe more than what is needed to come through, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Right.
Totally.
So maybe all this person needs is this one sentence, and it's like, I can't get anything else. But I think it's on purpose. I'm not supposed to, right?
Yeah. It's like if you're doing mediumship too, and there is a spirit who is just not there in the place of communication, you'll get just a few things. I've had that happen, and it's not the sitter and it's not us, it's them. But yeah, with boundaries, I've tried to go really hardcore and be like very, very boundaried, where I'm like, no, my intention on a day-to-day is to not pick up anything. And then I'll purposefully go into it if I want to. And I found that just too rigid, and it affected me. It wasn't the right way to do it. So for me anyway, so now I just kind of go with the flow. And if I do feel energetically like, oh, this is going to be a little hairy, and we know, we get that little spider sense. I've really, really just learned to listen to that. And I get really metaphysical with it. Like I'll get weird and I'll put bubbles around. I'll put like a gold bubble around me, so it's like reflective. Like I feel like these things actually work. And
I think so.
Yeah, really set the intention. Yeah.
I'll tell you a really, really cool story. When I was a little kid, I don't know why, but I guess I was always just putting up, there were certain things probably that were going on in my life and my family's lives. And so and I would just imagine this like like this white dome over our house. And just this past year, my mom brings it up to me I've always felt that there's this white dome over our house protecting us. And so I put that out and I said, hold the phone. Did you know? And she was like, nope. So that was really cool. Right? You want to talk about it works. I was like, well, there's the proof is in the pudding.
Yeah. When I started doing this work, I would like imagine, like a white or bubble. As I was preparing for a reading, but also like before I went out in public. I don't really do that so much anymore because I know that I literally just have to like think my intention is not to connect, and I don't. And if something does sneak through, I usually trust, okay, I'm like meant to take action in some way about it.
I find that when something does sneak through, it's because that person is in need of healing in a big way. That's when it sneaks in, is they are in sorrow or grief or just torment. And so that's when I turn into a Care Bear and just shoot love beams out of my heart and surround them. Usually it's green for me. I'm very visual too, Amy, like you. And just, okay, I got this hit for a reason. They need love. So just like the dome, I feel like the love shooting is real too. You just blast them.
And it blows my mind that you said Care Bear, because I've shared many times in the beginning, sometimes I would literally imagine like Care Bear. Like as I was breathing, the Care Bear's chest would open and then all the light would shoot out. Like,
so do I.
Yeah, that's so funny. So funny. So I wanted to ask you quickly about, so you do card readings, right?
Yep. You know, I actually don't have official offerings. I really need to take the leap and do that. I've really been enjoying going with the flow and being like a river, and just also learning as I go and just soaking it all in and learning myself, because this is such a self-discovery path when you're doing your, spiritual abilities. So I've been saying that's coming for too long now. It's going to come. It has to come soon. But everything I do is on the down low. I've never done card readings for people, other than myself and just friends. But I've done readings for years. Just people don't really know that yet. I still get them coming at me. I mean, through the podcast, I've talked about it. So I do get people coming that way, but yeah, I just did one yesterday. And, I also love numbers. So I do numerology on the down low as well.
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah.
So Brandee actually did a numerology report for me a couple years. I want to say like a year and a half, which I thought was really cool. I think I have it right here.
Oh, really cool.
Oh, would you share a little, Amy?
If I have it here, if it's not one of the ones, is it one of the ones that fell? Yeah, there's another folder. I think it fell behind my thing.
Look how organized Amy is also. I just feel like I should.
I tried to be. It fell behind my shelf, so it's behind there. But I remember bits and pieces of it, like really validating. Like I think it's.
I remember. I usually, if I know you and I know your life path number, I know your life path number for the rest of my life. So you had so much 5, which is like, I don't know if that was your life path or if you had it like 3 times in other numbers. And that's like through my own intuition and through my own observations. I feel like you won't find this anywhere on the internet or whatever, but this has come through my own guides and my own higher self, whatever you want to say. 5s are the most mediumistic number.
You wrote that in there. I did see that. I don't know if that was my life path number or not, but I know that there was a 5 under one of the topics, and you said, is the life path number when you, let's tell people how you get
reduce your birthday.
Reduce your birthday. I feel like I'm 1.
Yeah, it was 1. Yep, you're right. As you said, as you were talking, I was like, I think it is 1, which makes a lot of sense for you too. But you had more than 1 5, I think. I feel like.
Yeah.
So there's 7 main personality numbers and karmic debt numbers and karmic lesson numbers. And so for the life path, you add up every digit of your birthday, like 12, 13, 1984, add each single one. And for me, that adds up to 29. Yeah. And then you add that together, 2 plus 9. And you'll get either 1 through 9 or the master numbers, which are 11, 22, and 33.
Which you have 11?
I am 11. Yeah.
Yeah. So what is an 11? Like, what would that kind of mean?
Well, master numbers are kind of an indicator that you have a lot of lessons to go through and a lot of work to do to kind of achieve that level of your master number. Some people don't really ever get there, because I'm also 2. So you add the 1 and the 1. And so at baseline, I'm 2 pretty much. But as I'm like really in my higher self and like embodying that soul that I really should and in my power, I am in the 11 energy. And that's a spiritual illuminator.
Cool.
Love that.
Wow.
Yeah. Love that.
I like to boil it down to like a couple words, just for each life path. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember the karmic debt part too, because I did have karmic debt, and there was a number that came up, and then you wrote a little blurb. And I think I might have talked about this on the podcast, Erin, but I don't know if I said where it came from. Like if I said that numerology before, but I remember you said in it something about like me always having healing abilities in many past lives, but that there has been a life or more than one life in which I didn't always use it for the highest good.
Oh yeah, abusing the power. Yeah.
Abusing the power. And I feel like I talked about this before, and I feel like that makes so much sense for me about why it's so important for me to come like from a true place. It's like, if somebody questioned my integrity, it would be like a dagger to the heart. Like that would upset me more than anything else in life.
Yeah.
In general, but especially in my own work, which I know is a tricky situation, because then you get into, being a medium, which a lot of people don't believe in. So it's like this challenge I have of wanting so much to help people believe and help and have integrity about it, but also knowing sometimes I'm fighting a losing battle with certain people. So I've really had to learn, like, these are my people, these aren't my people, and that's okay. Like I've learned that I don't have to prove anything to anyone.
Yeah.
But I've just found that so interesting, and it really validated that, because it was almost this of like, it was a wound. Like, why do I have this wound around my integrity? Like, why would it bother me so much to the point of like obsessive thinking?
Yeah.
If somebody said I was a liar, like, why? And like, it just, that was my favorite part of the whole reading, actually.
Oh yeah. I'm inspired to do some stuff about karmic debt. Yeah, that's really interesting. I need to go and look at my numbers, because as you're talking, I'm thinking I have been really understanding lately, like super lately, that I've avoided mediumship, even though I've developed it, take time to learn it and get better at it. I've avoided it. And I've been getting from my guide, like, why are you developing all this when you and not using it? You could be helping people, you could be using it. What's going on? And it's a wound. It is a wound. It's from past life stuff. It's from, getting persecuted. And it's from just being afraid. Not afraid of mediumship, afraid of the persecution, afraid of the judgment.
I have
right?
that, very much so.
Do you have that, Erin?
Oh yeah. Hands down.
Yeah. And I did past life
talked
for Erin, and a lot of that stuff came through too, about her having some witchy past lives in which. Yeah.
It's interesting too, because we talked about the witch wound. And so like, as you're talking, I just keep thinking about that, the witch wound and like intergenerational trauma, but also like past life trauma, bleeding into this life, and like, how are we, healing or growing from previous, lives? What are we learning from that? Because I definitely feel like there are things that kind of bleed into this life.
Oh yeah.
Right. And certain things come up for us, or we find out, what our triggers are, and what, you go deeper, and like what we're learning, all these lessons. And, so I don't know, but yeah, that's definitely been a huge, lesson of mine, is trying not to care so much what people think. Yeah.
I would
surrender.
Commonality, probably.
Surrender, yeah. Because not recently, I had somebody call me out on my mediumship, and said that if you tell people are going to think you're crazy and you're a witch and all this stuff. And
tell us about your witch tattoo and why you got that, Erin.
I love it. You want to see my foot, Brandee? Here's a little ankle for you too. So this is my witch. It's from Kiki's Delivery Service. I don't know if you have seen that movie.
No.
Okay, check it out.
Anime.
It's a really good kids movie. And Kiki is a witch, and she rides a broomstick, and she delivers things to people with her cat. And I got it actually because an old romantic partner did not know what to call me, and kept calling me, oh, well, a witch. And I was like, no, I don't like, maybe I do practice witchcraft inadvertently, but I'm not, I wouldn't call myself a witch. I'm a medium. I talk to those who have passed away, and it's amazing. Oh, okay. But witch. Just kept going back to it. So, and eventually I was like, you know what? Actually, I'm going to take that and run with it. And I love that. And I love this movie. Yeah. In fact, when I was little, I used to watch that movie all the time. And I would pretend like with my broom, I would jump off and I would really hope I could fly.
Yeah.
I would jump off the couch.
I'm going to watch it
Anywhere higher.
I might like it too. I watched it with my kids and they really liked it.
Oh, it's
Did you guys watch witchy shows and things like that, like other than this, and were drawn to it? Like, I feel like a lot of people are, but when I talk to mediums and people who really embrace the path and really have no choice but to figure their stuff out here, they all really love, what are some of the movies? The Craft and Practical Magic. Yeah, exactly.
Even what's the one with the 3 witches, the Halloween movie? I can't remember.
Oh, Hocus Pocus.
Hocus Pocus.
Hocus Pocus 2 is coming out. Did you see? I just saw something.
When is that coming out? Is that soon?
Like Halloween.
Yeah, I love witch stuff. I don't know if you guys did this, but as a kid, I would always wear my witch costume for Halloween, like for quite a while. But I would pretend to be a witch with my friends in elementary school. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's
I would
so
make
cool, right?
makeup like bruise and spell put all the little grass and dandelions in the rainwater.
Say that too. I would gather little like things too. Yeah, me too.
That's so funny. Great.
I always say that to people. Like sometimes people will ask about soul's purpose, and certainly sometimes I can channel things about like a core value or essence or something that they would be especially good at. But I always just say like, well, what have you been drawn to or really interested in throughout your life, especially in childhood? It's a sign. It's before we were conditioned, before we were told you can't do this, you can't do that. What were you really into? And I know for me, it was this kind of stuff. And I also remember as a teenager walking by this like metaphysical store, like almost every single day. And it was almost like a magnet pulling me in. I never went in. I never went in. I wish I did, because I just found out I don't live in my hometown anymore. And I just found out that it closed like the year that I moved away. But I felt like a magnet. I was always drawn to it.
Yeah.
And you guys felt the same way about different
things. That's so
things.
cool. Oh, absolutely. I was just thinking, where were you guys when I was growing up? This would have been so much fun.
I know, it's so easier.
Totally. But we're attracting each other now, like because we're doing it, because we're not just wishing and hoping, because we're, embodying it and doing it. It's like, oh, I have these new friends who are into the same stuff as me. Well, that wasn't happening before because you weren't really embracing it, or because you were shying away or being afraid, right?
And that's a wonderful message to share with our listeners, like whatever it is, it doesn't have to be mediumship or psychic abilities, whatever it is that like, whatever that real, true, authentic self is.
Yeah.
By truly embodying it, which is actually what you're here to do. Like, that's why you're here, to be you. That's how you find your people. They can't find you otherwise. Like they literally can't find you.
Do that thing you love.
Do it.
Do that podcast, just like Brandee had talked about.
Yes, you have to do it. I always say, my guides always say to me, do it scared, Amy. Just do it scared. That's like my new mantra. Do it. Yeah. I love this. I love this podcast. I'm so glad that you came on today and chatted with us about all the things. I just have one more question for you. I don't know if Erin has another question for you. It's kind of based on when we're talking about like running in families. Now I know that you're a mom. You see intuitiveness in your children.
Yeah. Especially with empathy.
Yes.
Like my little boy, they're boys. And well, first of all, what you talked about running in family, it's really, really cool because astrologically, there's a lot of placements or reversed or like things coming down. I know there's only 12 signs, but it's really, really interesting. And like, you marry your parents' sign or whatever. This is what's happened to me. And both of my kids are both of my parents' sun sign, the same one. So that is run through the family really in an interesting way, but also with them being intuitive. Yeah, they are. Everybody is. And this is the drum that I beat all the time. Yeah. Everybody is intuitive.
Yes.
It's whether you're okay with that and accepting of it or not. And sometimes it's out of your control until you are older. Like me didn't start until I was well into my 30s. developing this part of myself, but because I was told in certain ways, so seeing it, my sons, is really cool. We play games with cards. I play little psychic games with them.
Oh, cool.
They call it guessing games, but they're like, can I guess the cards again? Like I'll pick one and hold it to my chest.
You hold it and then you ask what the image is.
And they'll say like a man, and my son's gotten really good at it. He's like, there's wings, or, there's green, lots of green. And one likes it more than the other. The other one is likes other different things. Like he likes to try to make things move with his mind. So we'll see how that goes.
That's Uri Geller. That's some Uri Geller stuff.
I love that.
Yeah, but with the empathy, it's like, oh, they can read your emotion. They speak energy. Every kid does. And if I'm holding something in because, I'm really upset about, maybe I had a little argument with my husband or whatever, and I'm trying to show them I'm okay. I'm not going to break down in front of them and have everything messy, but they know. Yeah. They don't care if I have a pretty smile on my face. They're like, what's going on? Why are you sad? Or, what are you holding in? My son even said that to me, because I try to say it to him too, because, we're trying to self-actualize here.
Oh my gosh. I love that.
Amazing self-awareness too, that they have then as they grow up.
Yeah. I mean, on that topic, Brandee, what would you say to parents, who maybe their kids are experiencing maybe psychic phenomenon, or are, coming to them with like maybe psychic senses or spiritual experiences, and they're wondering how best to handle it?
The thing that I see the most that it gives me cringe is fear. So either feeding your child's fear, maybe they are legitimately scared, or injecting your fear into your child. So it's like, be calm, be inquisitive, be curious, and make sure that they know there really isn't anything to be scared about, and teach them the power of their mind, that they can, choose what kind of things that are going to happen to them or not. They can talk it out loud. They do have a little more control than they might think they do. So, calm down the fear and teach them that, call in angels if you get scared, or that's what I tell my sons, call in the angels. They like roll their eyes. Yeah. Okay. What color?
Whatever, Mom.
Yeah. So just let it unfurl like a beautiful flower, and you could ask them questions, but just try to be careful of the fear, because that can really set the tone for a lifetime.
Yeah. And like, not even just, I think, spiritual things, but, if you're scared of them even talking to you about it, then I think that could lead fear for other things.
Or if you
shut down about it. Yeah.
Or something.
Right.
Yeah.
Be an open book.
Yeah, absolutely.
I like that, being inquisitive. I think we also a bit more inquisitive in life.
Always question. It's okay to question.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nobody knows everything, right? We're all here learning.
Yeah, we're learning from our kids all the time.
Yes, I believe that. I believe that. Sure. And it's interesting what you said about the chart placement, because I've seen that too. Like, I'm a Virgo rising. Both of my parents were Virgos. And as I was learning about the moon and how often the moon sign can kind of somewhat relate to your mothering, like, or the way you were mothered, or your mother's emotions. And so I'm a Libra moon. Both of my sons are Libra moons. I thought that was yeah. And I think my daughter's a Libra rising, but one of the boys is literally like the same moon and rising as me. So I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, it is really cool.
Yeah. I have all these different other topics that I want to talk about, but maybe we'll do it again another day.
I know.
This is so funny, guys. She never comes around, but 3 witchy.
Like, hello,
my came to say hi.
Oh my God, looks very similar to mine cat. Is that a Maine Coon? Do you have a Maine Coon cat?
No, she's.
Not a Maine Coon, a Nebulong.
I have I don't know. We got it from a friend. She's 13.
She looks so much like my cat.
Like Ted.
But she's never come down here for a podcast. So I feel like it's our energy.
Probably.
Mhm.
Probably. I don't know. Like if you do, you meet with somebody and do a reading, would you, if you do that, do you do it online? Like we are here? Yeah. I often will find that like my cats will come down when I'm doing readings, or clients will go. Like I remember one, like the dog was like at the door and the guy was like, I don't know what's going on. Like the dog does this and needed to come in the room. Like
yeah.
There. I actually ended up picking up on the dog, like different things about the dog. I was like,
that's so funny. It's almost like the dog wanted to talk.
I need to get in here. I have something to say.
I have something to say, and you're the only one that's gonna, you can hear me.
Truly.
Animals are definitely so.
Oh yeah.
And so telepathic.
Sometimes when I like meditate, Ted will be lying like on my chest with me. It's really cute.
They feel it.
I think I have the door open, so maybe that's why. Maybe I think I usually have the door closed, but if I do my own personal card time, I'll like sit and meditate and do my own personal cards, and she's always there without a doubt.
I've seen like your stories where the cat is like on the bed, like with the cards.
She's all over the cards. I'm like, come on, I can't.
She wants to pick a card. She wants to pick a card.
She does. So cute.
Speaking of pick a card, should we pick a card?
We sure can.
Sure.
Yeah.
Is now the time?
Now's the time.
The time is now.
Here. My newest deck. I'm going to pull from the Rose Oracle.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I'm going to pull from my Witch, the modern.
That's a good one for today.
Yeah.
Approximately how many decks do you have, Brandee?
Approximately 15-ish, I guess.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm on the tame side. I'm sure you guys, do you have more than that?
I do personally. Yeah. I have 46.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't have it.
Oh yeah, I'm a little bit upset. But a lot of them I purchased it right in the beginning, and I wished, as learning lesson, but I just like bought like whatever, and now I really like, I'll feel the cards calling me.
Curate them,
or I'll look at the like different cards, and then I'll feel something towards one deck, like physically. Even if like logically, maybe I'm like, oh, I don't know if I'm super attracted to that deck. My body will be like, nope, and I'll just grab it, and I'll know that it's like the one
that's for you.
Yeah. So interesting.
And that's how I pick my cards for the day as well. Like, oh, which deck am I going to use today? I just like run my hand over it. It's obviously this one. It has to be this one, you know?
Yeah.
That with clients too. Like I will I'm like, which, like say if I'm doing intuitive guidance, I pull a couple cards at the beginning of that session, and I'll go over and I'm like, which has the message for this person? And that's what I do too. I love it. Cards are never wrong.
No, I love house.
I love this new deck. I pulled this card quite a few times, so I feel like it's definitely a message for the collective energy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Brandee, since you're our guest, would you like to start us off?
Oh, sure.
No pressure. Also, if you're like, no, that's okay too.
I chose what is it? Kyle Gray.
Oh yeah.
Angels and Ancestors.
Oh, beautiful. I have to check that one out from him.
It's really good. So it's this one. Yeah.
Yes.
And two popped out. And this is so fitting. Of course it is. The Drum, Dream and Journey.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
And Magic Guardian, Unlock the Magic Within.
Wow. Yeah.
So I feel like this message is for the listeners, for all of us, that, you are doing it. You are magical. You do have powers. Trust. Let your voice come out. Try not to let that ego drive the bus. Let it sit in the back and watch it unfold, because when you do go with the flow and stop filtering constantly, you'll shock yourself, because we are all magical.
Absolutely. I love that. You want to go next?
Yeah. Sorry. Okay.
That's
so
okay.
I like that this card came out because we were just talking about Hocus Pocus, and it's the Halloween witch.
Cool.
I love it. What a cool deck.
Right? Okay.
It's number 12.
Yes. Yeah. I like it. Number 12. So mysteriously it says a new year begins for you on Halloween, October 31st. But I'm going to say that I feel like new things are just coming in for us as well. I've been feeling actually with like, even just with talking people, and maybe you guys feel very similarly, that just a lot of new beginnings are coming in right now. A lot of shifts are happening, a lot of changes. So that's what automatically comes through when I read that sentence. But it says a door opens into another world, which is cool. We were talking about different worlds. You may see or dream of those you love who have passed from this world to the next, but still want to help you. A potential lover or friend will be thinking of you before being driven to open their heart to you. Patience spurred on by ambition makes waiting easy for you. So there's a lot of message, I feel like, also about waiting, patience, but also like if that thing that you want hasn't happened yet, I do feel like it's manifesting. I feel like it's coming. I feel like it's bubbling, maybe bubble, toil and trouble. And like there's going to be some messages coming through, I think as well in the next couple of months that I feel like is going to steer us into that open door, into that new beginning as well. That's what's coming through.
Amazing. I just wanted to quickly say, to validate that what you're saying about changes, I don't know if you saw today's morning minute that I put out. So I pull a tarot card every day, Brandee.
Yeah.
Today's was the wheel, and it's all about change. So absolutely, I kept feeling that, like, we are and it's a choice. Like, we can move on backwards or we can move forward, but change is in
the air. Yes.
Absolutely. So from the Rose Oracle, I pulled Sub Rosa. So I love this. It says hidden in plain sight. He's learning and teaching. So, this is really about, it really corresponds with the message that you had as well, Brandee, about the magic and the mystery, and that we are magical. It's just right underneath. It's in the surface. It is part of who you are. And it's just about, really nurturing it, letting it out a little bit. So it feels as if all the things that we are seeking, whether it's clarity, answers, whatever it is, they're hidden in plain sight. We just have to tap in to ourselves. And the mystery of life, I like that. Like, we can't always have all the answers, right? I always say that to my clients sometimes when they want like very definitive, like yes or no. I will get usually I'll get like a good feeling, like of like yes, or like I'm not sure, or pause. But I always say, like, we can't have a clear cut yes or no all the time.
Yeah.
Because there needs to be an element of mystery. Like, you are here to navigate this path. So you don't want somebody to just hand you the map, because then what was the point? And learning and teaching. And so the soul inquiry with the card says, I thought I memorized it, but I know I don't remember what it said. I think it says, what are you interested in? What are you being called to study, learn more about, or unearth?
And we talked about that too. Your interests are there for a reason.
Absolutely. We always find this with our card pulls at the end.
Unlock your magic.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's saying the same thing in a different. Yeah. I love this. I love it. We always find this when we do card pulls. They say the same thing, like two very different cards, two different decks. They say the same thing. So I love that. Thank you so much for being here and for coming on with us. We appreciate you and your
time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. All of your thoughts and guidance. I did want to ask, how can people find you if they'd like to start following you on social media?
Social media at Spirit Talk 13 is my Instagram. Yeah. And I have a Facebook group that kind of is linked to my podcast, Spirit Talk, a Soul Tribe. And my podcast is called Spirit Talk, available everywhere. And you guys will be on there next.
Yes. Excited about that for sure. So thank you so much. Thanks for listening, everybody. Take good care. Have a wonderful weekend. Bye.
Bye, guys.
If you like what you're hearing, don't forget to give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcast and tune in each week as we dish on all things spiritual.
Don't forget to like, comment on what you would like to hear us talk about next, and subscribe.